Hello and welcome to Overdrive. I'm Shireen Bhan. Now we're going to start the show with an iconic car that's been in the news for all the wrong reasons. We are talking about the Toyota Prius and the problems it's been facing on account of the large-scale recalls, forcing the Toyota management to come out and apologize to customers. Now the Prius is something of an icon because it made its commercial debut in 1997 and since then it's seen unparalleled success. Despite its problems, we thought it was worth our while to actually send out Shumi to take a spin in Mumbai to find out how it could change your daily commute.
In the whole wide world of green cars, the Toyota Prius has remained the poster boy. It's going to be available in India from March and we have the car with us today and I intend to go into Bombay, into the traffic on my daily commute to see what all that technology under the hood does for you. We're going to talk about that and we're going to explore all of the other aspects of the car. The economy, the space, the ride quality, the handling. In effect, we're going to figure out why you should be buying this car. Historically, the Prius's styling hasn't always been great. But the latest generation looks smart, sharp, distinctive and mildly futuristic. The camback tail, the sliced-off vertical boot has aerodynamic advantages and it will help identify the Prius almost instantly. And that visual identity is, we believe, a significant part of its cool factor, the instant recognition that the Prius enjoys around the world. In terms of dimensions, the Toyota Prius is not a very large car. Probably a design decision to ensure that this is an easy car to drive in traffic, its primary hunting ground. But inside, Toyota has been up to some serious packaging magic. They've taken this cantilevered center console, the layout and the textures, and they've done a very nice job. It looks very futuristic. And at the same time, there's a lot of space inside. Not only are there a series of cubby holes along the front, I'm 5'11" and behind me sits my producer. He's 6'8" and his knees are just barely touching my seat. Like most hybrids, the Prius has an electric powertrain as well as a petrol engine. Both work together along with other technologies like regenerative braking to offer owners the same performance as a normal car but with excellent fuel economy. Let's see how the technology works in the real world. I'm parked on the side of the road on one of the busier stretches of my commute and what I'm going to show you now is how hybrid synergy drive works. I'm looking for a brake in traffic and there it is. And as we roll off, as you can see, it's just the battery that is driving the car. Now suppose somebody were in front of me and if I had to brake, the arrows that are going from the battery to the motor to the wheels would immediately reverse and the battery would start charging again. And to show you that, I'm just going to brake. Watch this. Can you see? The arrow started going back into the battery and now the car is charging the battery again. Whenever you accelerate away in the Prius, especially from a standing start, it uses only the battery as far as it can. So we're up to 30 kph and the petrol motor has not been woken up yet because we're basically not requesting for too much performance from the car right now. And now traffic ahead of me has cleared up and I'm going to go, and when I floor it, the petrol motor comes in flawlessly. It's almost impossible to tell when the motor came in. On a very quiet morning in a parking lot alone you might hear it, but otherwise it just comes in. And as I slow down now to merge with the traffic, again it's charging the battery. What the Prius is able to do is run through traffic more or less completely in electric mode on our normal average driving cycle, which is why the fuel economy is so good. How good? This car returned 24.66 kilometers to the litre on my daily commute, and I wasn't trying to drive gently and generate impressive numbers. The credit, of course, goes to the Prius's powertrain, which tries very hard to ensure that the petrol engine is used as little as possible. The Civic Hybrid, for example, won't give you this economy because Honda's hybrid philosophy is to help the petrol engine when you need to accelerate hard, rather than Toyota's, which is to try and replace petrol power with electric whenever possible and to whatever extent possible. As the generations of the Prius have come along, the amount of work that the Prius does with the battery has slowly increased until this car, where there is actually a fully functional electric mode. It doesn't last very long and the batteries have to be fully charged, but it is there. In a short trip when you're going to the shops near your house, in theory you could drive it in full electric mode there and back without ever invoking the petrol engine. What you'd normally be driving on, however, is the eco mode, which is what Toyota calls the best compromise between using petrol power and battery power. But when you really want to go and acceleration is key, then there is the power mode, which gives you maximum performance even if it comes at a slight expense of efficiency. And whether you're in power mode or not, acceleration is brisk. Adding the outputs of the petrol and electric motors tells us the Prius is a 180 PS car. But it doesn't work like that. In effect, it behaves like a 135 PS car. The acceleration numbers we saw with our V-Box are consistently similar to the Corolla Altis. And in fact, the Prius is actually a wee bit quicker than that car. The Prius we're driving today is not fully in the Indian specification. The tires it's running is slightly softer than the final Indian specification, and the ride quality is a little lower, so we were warned that it might scrape over things. To be honest, it hasn't scraped over anything so far. But I'm really impressed with the ride quality. It's stiffer than we're used to, but it's very well damped. And we went over the painted strips Bombay police uses to indicate that the road ahead is either slippery or dangerous, and there are lots of Indian cars that make a lot more noise and feel a lot worse than this car. Overall, I'm really impressed. What slips under the radar is a tangible sense of driving something cool and classy that is inescapable when you're at the wheel. Many electric and hybrid cars have failed to find favor among buyers simply because they turned out in feel like regular everyday commuter cars. Toyota have managed to inject a sense of effervescent cheerfulness into the Prius that makes it a fun car to drive, which is an added bonus when you consider that its green and image credentials are well beyond reproach. The Prius is the second hybrid to go on sale in India, and I have to say the first one didn't do that well. The Civic hybrid started at 22 and something lakh rupees, but when the last one rolled out the door, the price had fallen to just under 14 lakh rupees. I think the reason for that was that the Civic hybrid looked exactly like the regular Civic, which means people on the street couldn't tell that your car was cleaner or greener than theirs. What the Prius will do well is that it looks distinctive. As soon as you see a Prius on the street, you're going to spot the fact that there's a distinctive, smart-looking car, which is obviously a car from tomorrow. All the technology is demonstrated in the visual form. The lowest version costs 26.5 lakh rupees. The highest version is 27.85 lakh rupees. But people are going to know that you bought into the green image, that your car is more environmentally sensitive than theirs. And that's why we at Overdrive believe the Toyota Prius will succeed.
Well, that was a look at the Toyota Prius on Mumbai streets. In fact, the Toyota management has told Overdrive that the cars that will be available in India will come with the upgraded software and parts. They will be post-recall cars, so Indian customers don't really have to get worried.